As Transformers fans, we've had a lot of different figures over the past almost 30 years. We've had some great figures, we've had some not so great figures, we've had big figures and small figures. And then we've had the genre-defining figures, or the figures that create a word that is forever used in the fandom. An example of this would be the recent 2007 movies, Bayformers, Headmasters, Target Masters, and then there's Shelf Warmers. Now, what are Shelf Warmers? Well, those are figures that never leave the shelves. Today we are taking a look at the figure that created that term. Today we are taking a look at Transmetal Scavenger. Oh boy. I don't even know where to begin with this figure because, man, this thing is a pile of dookie. This poor son of a gun was probably the worst selling Beast Wars toys of all time. Just, oh my heavens. Now, it was obviously supposed to be the Transmetal form of Inferno, but for some reason, Inferno never got an upgrade, like a lot of characters on the Beast Wars cartoon. Even though a lot of the characters did get toys of Transmetals, this guy didn't for some reason. Scavenger was then made his own unique figure, and oh, where to begin? Okay, so this guy came out in 1998, towards the mid to end of 98, and that's when I first started seeing it. I can't remember if I got this in store or if I got this online, but man, I will tell you, I saw this figure straight on through my college career, which was 98 to 2002. My graduating weekend, I went to Walmart, and he was still there. In fact, a good friend of mine who was working at Walmart at the time, even after years after I graduated, and he graduated in 2006, rang me up on my cell phone, sent me a picture, and what was it? He was working in the Walmart back store, and he found a box of Scavengers. I can't make this up. This was probably the greatest shelf warmer of all time. In fact, this is where I first started seeing the term. Now, that could be not when the term was created, but this is when I first started seeing the term. Now, in Japan, I believe that this figure was also a shelf warmer as well, as it was not very popular. In fact, Destrons normally aren't that popular in Japan. Normally, the Autobots or Cybertrons are more popular. But he was called Metals Inferno. Now, Metals, being the Transmetals figures, his Japanese ID number was D46. Even though the figure was released there as Metals Inferno, he still had the word Scavenger written on him, which was really strange. But this figure has so many things wrong with it. We're just hitting the tip of the iceberg here. Now, before anybody thinks I didn't do my due diligence and go online and see how it's supposed to actually be transformed, I did find the directions, and the directions aren't really helpful all that much, but I did see a way to pose it on the directions sheet that helps a little bit. I will freely admit that looks a hell of a lot better than the way I had it posed. But there are no place in the actual directions other than the little Beast Wars. Here, I'll show you. Look, the only place in the directions is right there. That's the only spot that it shows the bug mode. So that is as close as I could get to what the directions had. Now, I will admit, this looks better. This does look quite a bit better. But forgive me if I'm mistaking this ant for a praying mantis. Okay, it's gotta get better, right? Well, let's look at the vehicle mode. The vehicle mode, or transportation mode as the directions call it, is pretty sorry, I have to say. To get it into that mode, what we're going to do is reach underneath the head, flatten it out, fold the drills straight forward, fold back the ant head, reach under the I guess this is the thorax, and fold out these weird wheels, and then we do something with the legs. So here's the freaking alt mode. And believe it or not, this is the way the directions have the legs. They're just hanging off the back. And I've seen other directions and other people that have this figure make boxes out of the legs. Just, I don't know what they were thinking. Now, you can push down on the head a little bit. So, moving it back and forth, there are wheels underneath here that will move the augers for whatever good that actually does. And I love the directions. It says, note, some parts may detach. Yeah, when transforming this thing, be really careful, because all these ball joints are going to pop off at a drop of a hat. So, as an alt mode, this is pretty stupid. I mean, it's not... I get what they were going for, but ultimately this is pretty much a failure. So for the final transformation into robot mode, all I did was put the legs straight out, the bug legs, just so you can see what I'm doing here. First, we're going to reach underneath the figure and then fold up the wheels again. Then we're going to reach to the shield back here, the back plate, and unfold it, spin it 180 degrees, and have it just kind of fit or sit right on top of those wheels. Then reach underneath, or reach into the back and fold out the legs, flip out the feet. Next, separate the augers, fold them out, reposition the camera, rotate the shoulders around so the screw holes are facing forward, and flip up the head. And then try to position it so it doesn't look like crap. Here we have Scavenger in robot mode, and let me tell you, this is a nightmare of a figure. Now, the face is nightmarish, and apparently, according to his bio, he's supposed to be an expert in psychological warfare, and by God, he looks it. But he has the same problem that a lot of the Beast Wars figures and a lot of other figures have. What do you do with the alt mode legs, especially if it's an insect? Where do they go? They just hang off of the figure. There's not much you could do, and the insect head just hangs off his elbows, or actually his forearms. Oh, and he also has one other trope that a lot of Beast Wars figures have. No real hand syndrome. I don't care who you are. If you're a robot, what are you going to do without hands? I mean, he looks like Crash Man almost from the Mega Man series. Yes, I just dated myself. But I would say the bot mode looks awesome if I didn't know everything else about the figure is crap. Now, I will admit, the fact that this figure has held up so well over the years surprises me to no end. He doesn't have any flaking, he doesn't have any transmetal warping, all the paint apps are perfectly fine. He's in perfect condition, which I have no idea how they managed to do that, considering all my other transmetal figures are falling apart. See, I'm going hoarse because of this damn thing. So, is this figure good? No. Is this figure bad? Oh, yes, and not in the good way. Not in the fun way. If you get this figure, if you have this figure, just leave him in one mode. Pick the mode you like and leave him there. I don't like the transformation. I don't like his robot mode. I don't like his beast mode. Some of you might. Some of you folks out there might love this figure. But this figure is by far one of the worst Beast Wars toys ever created. There is a reason that I found this figure, 6-7 years later on the shelf still. 2006 was the last time I saw this figure other than the one that's currently in my collection. And that was in a store. That was in a box in the store. Mint. So, guys, just, I don't even know how to end this. This figure just sucks. But tune in next time when we look at other figures that are just as bad, because I'm apparently a glutton for punishment.